Hi everybody, happy Tuesday. We are StudioR12 and we are Stencils and DIY Painting. I'm Patty.
I'm Kari.
And we...
I'm Kari. I'm Kari. I'm Kari. I'm still Kari.
I know, right? Anyway, we are here to have a good time today. We have a really interesting lesson today. Make sure that you're asking us questions. Give us thumbs up. Helps with our algorithm. Make sure you subscribe if you find our content interesting.
Yeah.
And always share with friends that like to paint and DIY as well. So what do you got there?
So I have some fun stuff for you today. If you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, you'll definitely want to do that. We have some
fun things.
We have some fun things planned for you. And we've been adding a lot of really short things as well. So if you only have if you only have a minute or two in the morning when you're brushing your teeth, then you...
I need to do that.
Yes.
I got that 2-minute electric toothbrush.
See, that's
I
when
could get a whole content in.
That's when I do my Bible study, is I listen while I'm brushing. But so last week we released a so this is a multi lesson. So you're going to learn how to paint on cork. So we're we went away from the wood for a couple weeks. We're painting on cork, teaching you how to paint on cork, but also giving you ideas on how to DIY your own journal or planner. This time of year, we all have our new notebooks and our new planners and our journals.
And you know, DIY fun fact is all of these, we both have the same brand because they have these little dots in them. But you could paint on the cover of this, and you could stencil on that, so it could be yours. It could be your style instead of just the vibe that you get from whatever store you shop from. Yeah,
and then we also Patty shows mandalas. We have a ton of mandala stencils. You'll learn shading.
So we shade through that stencil. You guys, there's nothing easy. Everything's you guys. Sorry, 5 sons.
You guys, all of you.
5 sons. But. You guys, I mean it.
But you guys, seriously.
Seriously, you guys. But shading through a stencil is the easiest darn thing. It is the best because you don't have to have any skill except for offloading your brush. If your brush is offloaded, you can do this technique and you can use it everywhere.
Yes.
So did I say that clearly enough? Everywhere.
Yeah. So I'm not showing you. Thank you. I'm not showing you what we are doing, what we're releasing this week, but I'm going to tell you that it is not on wood again. We stayed away from wood. And we're doing a pet theme this week. So we're going to leave it at that, and the rest is going to be a surprise.
And it's kind of a fun little project because what it's painted on and...
Oh, it's a Dollar Tree project. We'll do that too. Yeah. So it's a Dollar Tree DIY.
So $1.25 tree. I know, right? There's 25% increase. Not bitter at all.
Not at all.
But no, seriously, it's so fun when you can find things that are affordable that you can make as a gift and all of that. So part of what we do is we show you how to DIY, show you how to make it easy to paint gifts and do that kind of thing, and I think that's so important, especially if you can make it affordable.
Agreed. And then one last thing. 2 more things. One, we do have a fun sale for you today. We have a coupon. You can use the coupon JAN5, so JAN 5 today, January 10th, 2023, and you can get $5 off any purchase of $10 or more. So if you
can do 50%.
If you do something $10, you're getting 50% off your order.
Well, and I think I might make it easy for you guys to know what you want with our lesson today.
I think so too.
Yeah, it won't be $10. You'll have to work on that because I don't think. How much are they?
Yes, I have them popped up. I wrote down the stock of them, but I don't have the price. $5.
Yeah, so $5. We have a product today that we just received a big box of them, and I looked at them and I was like, they have those back in stock? I need to talk about these because there's magic to be known, and you need to be able to buy them if you learn about them. And so I don't want to show you if you can't get them. So they're like some of our supply chain issues. Oh, please knock on. One whole year of supply chain issues is too much for me, but some of that is like leveling out, and now we are kind of getting back to a little bit of a it feels like. Barring any weird worldly things, I feel almost normal.
Yeah, agree.
So,
one more note before we get into today's
Yeah.
lesson. We will not be live next week.
Next
we will not have a
Tuesday,
live
not so much.
next week.
Guess why?
We were scheduling a lunch for next week, and we were looking at Patty's schedule, and we scheduled the lunch for Thursday, and she said, "Oh, I can't do it Tuesday. I have an appointment." And it's like, at what time?
12:45 in Columbus, 2 hours away. Yeah, so it was one of those get a new doctor appointment with the guy in Columbus, and he's like, "This is your thing. I'll send you a letter." And here I am. Yeah, you're welcome. All right. Well, have a week off.
Yeah.
And enjoy, and then we'll see you on the following week, which will be whatever day.
Whatever
is.
the
Yeah.
day is, the
Tuesday, a week from now.
24th.
And if you're missing us on Tuesday, go to YouTube and check out StudioR12 and visit us.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Shall we?
Shall we? Shall.
Okay. So today, the subject of the day are sponges. Okay, so sponges are the name of the game. This comes as a set. When I tore the package open, I separated one of these and I ripped it apart. When sponges are dry, I'm going to show you this. When they're dry, like they come from the manufacturer, they're easy to rip apart. That can be beneficial because you can use all of the pieces, but sometimes you need a big sponge. But mostly for what we do in painting, we do not. This is a sponge that I've had for maybe 15 years, and I just keep using it and using it. It's really big, but if I'm gonna paint something on this guy, this big sponge is not gonna be what I need. So this is way too big, and at the big box stores and stuff like that, these things right here are gonna cost you maybe upwards of $20 right now. So this whole set that you can use on your project boards is going to be way more affordable than that monster. So monster is not needed in this case. So what we're going to do today is we're going to show you different things you can do with this sponge set. Okay, so there's different sponges. These are like a silk sponge. These are a porous, open pore sponge, and these guys are hydrophilic. And so that means they hold water or gather water well. So hydro is the part that's key. So it comes as a 5-piece set for like $5, so you're $1 a sponge. And they're reusable over and over and over again. So I'm gonna dive in and show you guys some stuff. Ask questions. The reason we do the live is so that you guys can ask questions in real time. If you have a question about something outside of this, ask it anyway. Kari will either write it down or she'll throw the question or answer the question, thunder typer the question, and do the thing. So make sure, just ask the questions because that's why we do lives. Okay, I'm gonna start with the hydro sponge. I'm gonna go into a bucket of clean water. Just gonna squish that awake. I'm gonna squish out as much as I can. And then I'm gonna push it in between a paper towel. Okay, so I want it dry damp, if that makes sense, and I'm gonna do some sky. So I've got this board painted a blue. It was a mix of number 66 and number 27. So that's this kind of darky blue with this white there, and it made a really kind of bright blue. I was actually a little bit surprised by that. So I'm gonna go in with a little bit of number 62. If you wanna know what I'm talking about, with the numbers, we have color chips that say the numbers of the paint that we're using. There's a DecoArt number that will tell you the number of the paint. It's right under here, number 62. It's DecoArt 333. And then it's Sherwin-Williams. So we use a lot of paint. So we use Sherwin-Williams that has been mixed to match the things, or it's chips that match. Either way. And fun factoid is we took the chips, or somebody took the chips into their Sherwin-Williams store, and they were super impressed with the chips. They were just like, what? Amazing. So super helpful to bring that in with you when you go. So I'm gonna use a little bit of 62 and squirt that on our reusable palette, which is our Mylar that you can wash. And if you wanna know how to wash your Mylar stencils and your palette, then we have a video. And now I'm talking my sponge dry. I always do that. I should always just wait until I'm done with the intro. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna under wet our piece. So if we have something that we need to have blending be able to happen, I'm gonna under wet with something big. I could use a brush, I could use a sponge, I could use a wetter sponge if I want the color to wash around and stuff. So I'm just gonna get this a little bit wet, and you can hear the difference in the sound once it gets wet. It's not so crunchy sounding. We'll go into one of these big pour sponges, and they're brand new out of the container, out of the little net bag that they come in. $5, you guys, ridiculous. Something you can actually get for $5.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna use these open pores. I'm gonna take just a little bit, and I'm gonna pounce it over here on my palette. Make sure that I am still wet because I talk too much. And then we're gonna go in this background, and we're gonna just kind of create a little bit of cloudy kind of sky texture. And I'm gonna do two things. Dustin, I don't know if you can get this. I'm gonna push and drag. I'm never gonna like lift off. And that'll make a really cool like scumbly effect. And we'll do it on different tiers, different levels. And guess what? If I hate what I did, I'm gonna go in with Mr. Clean Sponge. I'm gonna wipe it all back, and I'm gonna start over. So the neat thing about underwetting something is it gives you the opportunity to start again and play again. So I'm gonna go back into that, and then we'll just rebuild. Maybe I want some billowy clouds. And then what's gonna happen is the big open spaces will be where the very top edge of my sponge is, and then it'll kind of blend the bottom. Just a really neat effect. I'm going to show you like 8 ways that you can use these sponges. So that's, what is that like? 37 cents a use for each set, something like that. If I'm doing math wrong and you're judging me right now, it's okay. I can be judged for math. It's not my skill. Okay, so I've got little cloud bursts here. And now I'm going to go into number 27, which is white. Get a little bit of white out. And then I'm going to dip. I want to dip in just a little bit of water. So I'm going to get out Mr. Ketchup bottle from the barbecue grill. And I'm just going to sprinkle a few drops of that. And I want to just pick up a little bit. And then I'm going to dirty brush load. So that is the number 62 with the white in the middle. Okay. And then I'm going to go over here, blend it. And then I'm going to go here and right on top of those billowy clouds. And then, so these are getting a little crunchy. I'll use the back part of my sponge to just tap that down. So you have so much control, so much control. And then if you want to make it really dreamy, you can just kind of swoosh and swirl. Now I've got like these clouds that you see in airplanes, or a dreamy, dreamy scene. So if you're wanting to set the stage, you can totally do that all with a sea sponge. It is the best brush in your toolbox. Okay, so now I can go a little bit more dirty brush. I'm gonna pick up a little bit more water just to keep everything a little bit loose. And now I'm gonna make some crunchy whiteness. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna really control it. And now I'm gonna show you down here what I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna go bum, 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 bum. Now I have a caterpillar, okay, which is also a technique you could use.
Yeah, if you
right?
were painting
if you want a caterpillar,
then,
yeah.
So we'll make this
I can wipe him away. So for those of you who are stressing right now, I can wipe that away. Okay, so we're gonna just use this part of my sponge with this part touching. And I'm just gonna pat that on there. And we're just gonna do like a high-low. Like, how fun is that? Now pretend like we think this is just a little too crunchy, a little too granola. we can go in and we can blend it with this sponge. And now it's softer and it all sits in just a little bit. So this is how you can use your sponges to create beautiful sky scenes. You could totally do this for an inspiration sign, or, you know, even like your baby signs and things like that. Like the one that says like, be adventurous and things like that. You could totally make a sky scene and then, you know, be adventurous and stuff behind it. Okay,
so
go
you're
ahead.
sticking that in there. We've had several questions already about how to clean the sponges.
Yeah, I'm squishing it and with my hand in the water. And so that is just a couple squishes. And I've got clean water. I've got my dirtier water over there. So this is just going to be the squishing out water. And so I just totally rinse with water.
No soap.
No soap.
Next
Yes,
question,
thank
no
you, Steve.
soap.
No soap. And then I am going to go ahead and give this a rinse because I don't want that blue to harden. A sponge, if a sponge gets hardened with the, just sprayed everywhere. If a sponge gets hardened with your paint, then it's wrecked. I don't know if any of you do know how you can clean it out. You get chemicals in the sponge, they're going to stay, or they're going to eat your sponge, or whatever. It's going to be.
Now with the big sea sponges, you can always chop a piece off. We have cut our sea sponges so many times when we haven't liked the.
This is part of this sea sponge.
Yeah.
And it was a big like floppy. Every time I went squish, 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 it went like slap, slap.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted it to go and it went, you know, so I had to go, you know.
Share with your friends if you want to listen to our fun sound effects.
Ta-da! Okay, so now let's talk about snowmen. Okay, so we have this wonderful snowman face stencil, which is 6236_5 for the number 12 size.
Yeah, so that one comes in the teeny tiny size for the little markers for our countdowns, all the way up to
big. Like I think it had maybe 20 by 20 or 18 by 18, something like that.
18 is the biggest
Yeah,
one.
so 18 is going to be like it's a good size. So where that came from is this project, and I'm going to anchor this down here. This is a medium-sized porch sign. It's a tall porch sign. It's 4 foot. All of this texture, I believe in the video I used this brush, okay? So, but you can see that if I'm doing this on my, I am making a lot of sound effects today.
It's okay, it's good.
As you go along, it's great and fine and dandy, but that's not very big. So in this case, what you can do is you can, we'll go over here and we're gonna get number 34. The base of this one is, I think it is number 34. So we're going to skip down to, we're gonna cut this. So I don't know if you noticed, so you get bonus points if you already noticed, but on the sky, I didn't jump from that blue mix to white. Okay, I could if I mixed it with a little bit of something else. It's best when you're doing a subtle sponging effect to go ahead and mix something in between to cut the difference so that you can gradually get there, and so it sits prettier. You know, it's a little bit like, you know, like when you're doing like an eye makeup, if you like on some brown, but you don't blend it, then you're gonna have a problem, right? It's gonna look a little bit harsh. So you wanna make sure that you're giving something to blend in with. So I'm gonna go on this gray with a medium gray.
What number's that?
Number 23.
Okay.
And these are honey bottles. And they are, we can do an affiliate link for you guys to see where they're at. We take the Sherwin-Williams to go. Did we ever bring one of those into this room?
Yes, there's one right here.
Good. Yay, we did it, finally. Okay, so this is the size that they come in, and I think they filled us like 3 times. So if you're using a color like we do for our tall porch signs, we've got them all kind of stacked up over here. Oranges, reds, things like that for Christmas. And you're using this size, these are really affordable. I think, is it $7.99? I think something like that. $7.99 for like 3 fills of this size. DecoArt is amazing. I love their paint. However, It's 2-ounce bottles, and you can get some in the bigger bottles, but it's just more expensive. So this is really good for your backgrounds and things like that. If you need a really concentrated good color, you want to go with the Deco Art for the details. That's what I would do. Okay, so now we're going to do this project. I'm going to go and wet my sponge. Gonna wet it all over. Notice the technique here is very difficult. If you can wipe the table, you can do this. Okay, so go on. I keep wiping it for just a hot second because I feel like the water kind of gets into whatever the nature of the base is. I'm gonna go wet this one again. I'm gonna wring it out. And I always put this sponge in the middle of 2 sponges and wring that out. Okay, then I'm gonna go into that gray and I'm gonna do a big blend right there. So I've got that much paint. And now I'm gonna go on here and I'm gonna barely hit it. And so our snowman wants to be kind of a fluffy looking. And so here, I'm not gonna do a lot of this because now I have tornado snowman. Okay, we don't want tornado snowman. So we just go straight up and down.
No, but that would have been super cute on the Nutcracker. His hair kind of has those curls. That would have been super cute to add some specific hair marks.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Thank you,
really
Steve.
good idea. So I have a tornado over here. I'm going to show you a different way to calm that tornado down. The other thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to do polka dots. Okay, so this is a spoiled board. I'm going to go over here. You don't want to do that.
No.
You want to really connect them. Don't let there be any interference between your connecty dots. So like this, they look like little monsters. They look like ghosts. I could fix that by going in and blending it out. Let's show you how I would fix that. Number 34 was my base on the gray. So get out that color. Dirty brush. This is my brush. Sometimes these are my brushes. I'm going to blend that background color, and that's not my background color there, so I'm going to come over here to my tornado over here, and then I'm just going to dot my tornado area, and then once that dries, it will be softer. So that's another really neat way that you can balance your board out, is you can go in and be like, that's looking a little too crunchy. I'm going to go all over it, soften everything up. And now dirty brush, I can pick up my white. And now it's blended. Mm-hmm. So what's happened is with color theory is I have made a value change. I have taken something that is a value of like number 10 and something that is a value of number 5, and I've met in the middle, and now they are different values. So I've got a 7.5 going on right here. And so see how that is nice and soft. And so that's going to make perfect snow every time. And because it's big, you know, you've got this big area and it pounces and it carries water without pouring water. It really does work brilliantly for blending. Let me show you.
And with these sponge techniques,
yeah.
If you don't like it, it's going to be just like every other mistake that we make. You go back the
Base
next
coat.
step.
Yep.
You can sand it down because there might be a little bit of texture with the sponging. Sand it down, go back and base coat it, and retry it.
Yeah, and honestly, there's not very much because you got water in it. However, if you're heavy-handed,
which is maybe why you don't like it.
let me show you what it would look like. So this is with the little blendy thing where I use the dirty brush. I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to blend over here. I've still got a blended color, but watch what happens. I'm going to be right down here. Okay, so now I've got like so much stronger texture. That's not wrong, but it depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So make sure that you're always like thinking about, do I want a softer look? Or maybe I'm up here and I feel like that's too much, but then I can go here and I can add a little bit more, and you can see that now it increased it, but it's not so sharp as this, but not so faded as this.
Yeah.
So you can really take that and go with it. And then right here, what I did is after we did the grays, then I used, hi buddy, after we did the grays and got that all established for the chunks and the texture of the snow, then we washed over with the media acrylics, which are a Deco Art product. If you haven't seen this video, you need to go see this, because this technique, when the Deco Art media acrylics got introduced, I painted my first project with them, or you don't actually base with them ever. They're just gonna glaze. I strolled down the hill in my car and I was like, oh my God, I was like crying. This is the most magic paint ever. I'm never gonna live long enough to do the thing.
I'm never gonna live long enough to use them all.
Yeah, it's amazing. You guys, this product is incredible.
One drop goes a long
Yes.
One drop goes forever. The bottles are this big, but they're magic. Like incredible. They're non-pigmented. I could go on, but go watch that video. It talks about it. Let's talk. Yeah, let's talk about trees. Okay, so I have this just board stained, and I've got this, I think this is a Tree of Life, maybe stencil. Hang on, I don't know what the name is,
Tell me
but the
the
number is 1053, and this is _2.
Okay.
And I just did it in the color just to be able to see. Grab my sponge. I'm gonna switch to the other kind of sponge. That was a hiccup. Pause there. Say, whoop. Okay, so that's cleaned out, super easy with water. Like, it is that easy. If you let it dry in between, it will not be that easy. So do not let your sponges dry. They go right into the water when you're done. They wash right out. If you need to back up, so if I need to back up and I was in this color first, I can load with that, blot it off like I just used it, put in the other color, say I was on the white layer, blot that off, go into the white, and now I can pick up and use that as if I just did that whole project. And then I can go right back in and wash it out. So don't be afraid to wash out your sponges. You can reset the balance of color. Okay, so that's cleaned out. And new paper towel. Now we're gonna go into a different brush, different sponge. I'm gonna go into this little guy. He's not wet yet. I could rip him apart. He's super like dry feeling, but not anymore. Amazing how they change when you put water on them. Okay, so I've got that. He like plumped up like ridiculous.
Yeah,
What the heck? Good job. All right, here we go. So we are out of room on here, but I think I'm just gonna try to make it work. We're gonna make fall leaves.
What color is that?
Number 9.
Okay.
And I'm gonna use number 52 as well
Okay.
with wet hands. Hi. So if you get the big goobers on there, peel those off and they get much easier to use. And on the big goobers, once you have your paint sealed down, if you store them this way and then change it the next time to this way, then your paints will always be flowing up and down. And so you won't dry out or slime out, you know, that unshaken stuff that's in between.
Kelly asked, as the sponges sit and are not being used, do they get more brittle?
Absolutely not.
I think we have
This one is mine that's been sitting.
Well, and these have been in here for who knows how long.
Forever.
Now this is one that's dirt that wasn't cleaned.
So
well.
this is hard as a rock. You're not gonna get that out. What I would do with that, such a good call there, girl. I would go in here and I would do spongy type cuts and I would rip him out. And now the hard, yucky bit, trash, and I've got a couple, but notice that I'm not cutting straight across because that's gonna be ugly for a sponge.
That's not a haircut, not cutting
Yeah.
the bangs.
You wanna totally give it a sponge look. Channel your sponge. I know, right? However, it's perfect. Okay, so yeah, that's one that, and I think we haven't used this in years.
Yeah, these are old.
Yeah, it's something that it's uncommon to use in It's uncommon to use always in DIY, and so we've been a little bit more about the words and the things like that and less about these icons, and a little bit I feel like we're being kind of called back into the icons and the graphics of it. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to find an interesting spot. Now this is where you get judgy, okay? And then this is also where you get foldy and you decide, is that going to be interesting? And then you try it. So I'm going to go here. I like that guy right there. And I'm going to go over here in my palette. And I'm going to pounce them out really good. And then we'll do this paper towel. Nope, that's not going to show me. Okay, so in my book, a piece of paper, you could test it and see what kind of look you're going to get. So now I'm not making leaves. I'm making just impressions of leaves. This isn't going to show completely great. I didn't think this one through with the brown background because this is orange on brown. But you can totally go on the tree, and everywhere there's a branch, you can give it a little bit of a leaf effect. And now I'll go into my yellow dirty brush. And now everywhere that I did that, I will do a really strong, and so this guy's popping out on me, so I'm going to gather him in. I squish them together. And everywhere where that happens, I can make the leaves. And then to finish that off, what I would do, and this is a kind of a cruddy example because it's a black tree with orange leaves on a brown background. All the things were not thought through. Neat. But you can take a little brush like a filbert and you can go into your yellow color and you can make little leafies that kind of just stick out. Hang on, gotta load him. And you can totally just make little leaf shapes. And so you can make an actual like leafier shape over the top of your spongy shape, which basically if you think about a wedding bouquet and you think about that, you always have baby breath and you have like the greenery in the background and then you put the flowers in. It's the tray that supports the spaghetti, so you just want to give a tray for the leaves to sit on top of, so you don't always have to be like, you want to, well, I think
Can you
the tray.
tell me what brush number that was we added? Someone asked.
Yeah, hang on. It's a Patty's favorite dry brush, and it is number 6.
Number 6.
Really good set of brushes to get. If you have the option to buy a set of them, they're completely all great brushes. All right, so now we're going to go into number 51. We're going to 51, 16, and 54. Now, thankfully, I'm dried over here. So one is a really dark color. We're going to go on this side of the tree. Number 18, so we're going to go bright. But remember that dirty brush thing that we were doing in the sky? Yeah. And then this is 54. So we'll put out 3 colors. When you dirty brush mix or when you dirty sponge mix, what happens is you get a blend of family members, if you will. So it's like you have first cousins. And when you do that, you get a blend of color. And so it doesn't always matter if you're in the same color family. So these greens are not exactly related, but by blending them and dirty brushing them, they're going to be family members. Okay, so I'll start with the dark. And so we'll go over here and we'll just give a base. So we just want to mute all those branches. Okay, so we'll be like, yes, there's a tree going on. And we'd go right in front of that tree if we were doing a whole tree. So right in front, because these would be round in front of there. Come out of the edge, and you can be away from the edge of the branch. Ooh, and then see what I've got going on here? I got a little circle thing going right there. So now what I have to do is I have to hold that differently. So if you get a weird shape, just go back in it. Okay, and now if we don't quite like what's going on, we're going to go into the next color, dirty brush. Can you see okay, Steve?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we're going to just tap down, and I'm going to go over those areas that had that like hollow. And then that's going to make a brighter thing. And then we're going to go into the lightest color. So do you see where we're moving our colors up and up and up to the light? And then that will be our brightest bright that's on there. And like I said, this is not the best color choice, but you can imagine a tree on a background that would be a better choice. So, but that's how you make just this graduated color. Okay. Feel like we're moving. Any questions?
No, not right this second.
All right, so I'm squeezing that out. Brush is clean. And now, go over here to my notes. And so, you can use things like this to sponge a wall. I sponged an entire 20 foot by 10 foot surround for a booth using this sponge years ago. They last and last and last. They'll last you forever. So this is not a throwaway tool that you're doing. Next, I want to show, I already showed you under wetting, but I want to show you how to shade something. I feel like that's super important. So this is a football sign that we did. This is one of our videos on YouTube. So make sure that you are subscribing, and then make sure that you ring the bell so that you get notified when we have new things going on.
Well, and this is a good reminder as you grab the football sign that there were probably some of you who did not watch that video because you thought, I probably
don't need a football
I
sign.
don't want to paint football, but there are so many lessons in all of these videos that you can take from project to project to project.
Yeah, and I think that's not being a project snob. So you got to have something pretty to do. Let me move this. Something pretty to do that will be the lesson, because you got to show something.
Yeah.
And then, so, you do something for the dads, you do something for the husbands, blah, blah, blah. But like this tea towel stripe and how to make this stripe and how to do this drop shadow, how to do the shading on the football. This can be applied to an apple. This can be applied to a towel, to whatever you want to do. I mean, it's amazing what you can apply things to.
We had a question. Is the natural sea sponge better than a man-made sea sponge?
I think that they're all different, and I feel like that's like a life question. They're all completely. It just depends on what you're looking for, So you have to kind of get into them and just see how they feel to you, and then play. Get that. We keep talking about Amazon boxes over and over and over again. It's valid. You want to get those boxes out, and you just want to play with your medium. Okay, so I'm going to show you shading, and we're going to get out black. So running out of palette room. Going to balance this board. It's going to be fine. Everything's fine. Okay, I'm going to underwet. Okay, so I'm just going to add some shading at the top of this, and then I'm probably going to wipe it off so I don't have to finish the entire board. I'm going to dip that on my sponge and get some of that off of my sponge. And then I can go here. I'm keeping the clean side to the inside. And look at how amazing that is and how much work you're not doing. Like, that is incredible. So you've just shaded the top of that, didn't have to do anything, and then I can take the back side of it and I can erase it all if I don't really like what I did or want to get rid of it. I love these. Any big project that you want to do to get that shaded look, the fade look, the ombre look, right here. This sponge probably is worth the $5 just right there.
The sponge is also really good for finishing wax.
That's coming up.
Thanks a lot,
Thanks,
Steve.
Spoiler alert. I only have one dirty thing in this bucket, which is boy, that's got a lot of paint in the bottom. This is just one of these little guys, the daubers, but its water is cleaner than my other bucket, so I'm going to clean that out in there. You do need clean water. Okay, so now we are going to go to spoiler alert, Steve. Spoiler, Steve.
I need a copy of the notes.
So we've underwet, okay, so I actually want to do one thing before we get to Steve's spoiler alert. And, sorry, Steve, you're going straight under the bus for that one. Okay, got tall porch signs laying everywhere around here. So this is an unvarnished tall porch sign. And there we go. You never, ever, 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 unless you know what you're doing, ever want to put a shiny varnish on a project that is going outside on your porch, because the sun will hit it if you have a sunny place, and it will reflect, and you will never be able to tell what it says on your project. So you want to be really careful of that. I'm going to take this palette away. This is how our reusable palettes come. And this is basically what happened is we use these giant sheets of Mylar, and these are the pieces that sit beside the tall porch signs. And we don't sell as many 6x6 and 8x8s to fill up all this scrap, but we sell a million of the tall porch signs. So if you can wash a stencil, then you can wash a palette. So if you use a piece of this, we're selling it, I think they're $3 a sheet. They're so cheap. But instead of buying a palette paper that you're always going to throw away, using a meat thing, which is go there, you know, whatever you're going to do for your palette, this is going to be reusable, so you can just totally use it again and again, and it's amazing. So we're going to use the DecoArt DuraClear Matte Varnish. People say if you're going to shake a matte varnish, you should roll it. I have always just shaken the darn thing, and I've never had a problem with bubbling. So there you go. You can brush on your matte varnish. This is a really big project. So if you brush it on, you might have problems with it grabbing and doing some of that. And I'm going to add a little bit of water that's clean, because I think I talked it dry. So I'm not wringing out or anything. I'm gonna pick up on just the half of my brush, and I'm gonna go here. Can you see me okay?
Barely. I got you on Dustin's camera.
Okay. So then I can just wipe that on, and the wet is gonna keep the varnish from pulling. And I can just keep going and going. I can reload. And it's gonna be streak-free and amazing. And so I don't know if you guys have a timer, but this is a 4-foot sign, and this is varnish, and I will be done in about a minute. With cobwebs and things from the floor. Okay, looking for anything that I missed. I'm good. Okay, so I would do that. It's going to be slightly thinner than your regular varnish, but so fast, it'll dry quick, and you can do a second coat. It's perfect. I want to see thumbs up on that one, okay? Because that's like worth the price of admission right there.
Vicki just said, amazing, would not have thought to varnish with a sponge, but will be now.
Yeah, wet sponge. Definitely a damp sponge. Okay, so this guy's going to go over here. And now Steve's spoiler alert.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys. Okay, so obviously this one is not going to do any good for waxing because this guy is got water in it. Thankfully, it comes with 2 sponges. So we go into, this is the wax that we like to use. We like the Minwax paste finishing wax for finishing our projects. Unless it's food safe, and then we use the food safe wax. And then we use the special dark, okay? So we have a sponge sitting in the top of both of those, and have had for a year or 2. I think it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah, we'll go here. Ooh, he's so nice and rough.
Yeah, he's an old
This is like lumber.
Yeah, that was even pre-Kari, I think.
This is pre 2nd Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is 5 years ago. I'm gonna give him a little teeny bit of sand because he's like, I think he's what's that wood we have in the shack?
It's like rough salt poplar.
Poplar, yeah. I'm not gonna do this, guys. If I did this piece of wood, if you can like listen to it rasp. Okay.
I wish we had feel-o-vision.
Yeah, feel-o-vision means I'm glad I don't have splinter-o-vision. Anyway, every fiber of this thing is going to stick to every one of these, so you don't want to use sponges on a rough hewn board. So I'm going to put him away because bad.
Maybe.
Okay, so I need another victim. Good victim. All right, so this guy, another tall porch, he's welcome to the lake. And I'm gonna go way down here to the bottom. And instead of doing the natural, I'm gonna do the special dark. And then we're gonna get a glove out, which is our full top baggie. If you use nitrile gloves during a special activity in our country or a world in which nobody could go out and about, you couldn't get a nitrile glove. So we learned different ways to adapt. So we use just a full top baggie. This is a petroleum-based product. Use it in a well-ventilated space, but it doesn't stink as bad as like stain and that kind of thing. So it's kind of a little bit of a light thing, but don't like keep it in the car with you and stuff. You just go ahead and kind of warm it up just a little bit with your sponge. And now you've got your sponge coated. Can you guys see here? Hang on.
Yeah, we're good.
Right here.
Yep.
So notice that you can immediately see the difference in color. So I'm gonna go on my two edges. And then I'm not gonna do it like absolutely everywhere. I'm gonna switch into this guy and carry it up the middle with a clear. And when you do this effect, it is gonna do a graduated effect. You can put accents where you want accents, i.e., on there. I could just darken up the orange and the yellow if I wanted to, and I could even clean it up by wiping away the edge, and that will be waxing at the same time. So super versatile what you can do with your waxes when you need them. So you can wax this, let it dry, and it is gonna be so safe for outside, you would not believe it. It's amazing. Thanks, Steve, for the spoiler.
Yes. Thanks a lot, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Actually, Steve got a couple pats on the back.
Ah, Steve. Steve's amazing. Okay, so then you just keep those sponges in there. So you might need to buy an extra set if you want to keep your sponges there. But the round of the sponge makes it so that you don't end up with stop and start marks. And what's interesting is the same people that make these sponges are the people that we get a lot of our brushes from. And their family lineage started with sponges. They were a sponge manufacturer for a while. So it's just really interesting. So they kind of perfected this kind of domed shape, and it's an amazing, amazing product.
Well, and with the sponges, so we have the set of the C sponges and the round sponge, but we do offer the round sponge individually. So if you would want to get a set of the sponges to use on your projects and get a couple of extra round ones, you can do that too.
Yeah, you definitely, I would say you'd probably want 4 of the round ones and then 1 set of the variety, and that will give you enough rounds to do all the special techniques. I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and we will see you the week after next, and have a great week.
Yes.
See you later.